California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.
Coming up on California Heartland.
And I've seen sturgeon taken over there, and then guys running up to the car with it.
Poachers target one of the state's biggest farming products, caviar. Find out if California's caviar industry will sink or swim, and why raising sturgeon is only half the battle. And
watch the cow. Don't get to looking at the horse. Watch the cow.
It's time to saddle up and do some cutting with the Ag Traveler in Tuolumne County. We venture to Slide Mountain Ranch and learn the ropes of riding horseback. Plus,
fruit trees should be a mainstay in everybody's backyard.
Lack of water doesn't mean lack of fruit. Master Gardener Kristine Hanson has tips on sweetening up your yard. From your backyard to the back country, in a field, or on your family table, it's all about what keeps California moving and growing. This is California Heartland.
On the Sutter County line just north of Sacramento, farmers are growing something you can't readily see. In these nondescript buildings, workers are laboring over what can best be described as a fish farm, a white sturgeon fish farm. Sturgeon commands top dollar at the fish market, but it's caviar that's putting tiny Alberta, California on the map.
Did you know this was going to be this big when you started?
We had no clue at all. Basically, when we started, the idea was, could you raise sturgeon for the caviar?
Sounds simple enough, but female sturgeon don't begin producing eggs in the wild until they reach 15 or 20 years old.
When the Soviet Union broke up, there was a tremendous overharvesting of the Caspian Sea.
But with caviar production nearing extinction on the Caspian, an immigrant professor from Russia started the first research at UC Davis in 1979.
He caught some fish out of the San Francisco Bay and tried to use the techniques that the Russians had developed, and lo and behold, they worked, and basically an industry was started.
It took another 15 years before caviar farmers like Peter Struffenegger refined the technique. Sex can't be determined until a sturgeon is 3 years old, but Struffenegger waited patiently, made a living off the male fish he sent to market, and now he's raising female sturgeon in these tanks that are producing eggs by the age of 8.
I would imagine it's got to take an incredible amount of patience to raise a fish to be 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 years old.
The short answer is we have European investors. I don't think you would have found an American investor that was willing to look, 8-10 years down the road for the payoff.
The payoff is a critically acclaimed caviar. In a blind taste test, California-grown caviar took top honors against a host of more popular European brands. A jar like this is $80 an ounce. But success always seems to come with a price. Sturgeon are being poached, caught illegally at an alarming rate. In fact, according to one expert, the number of sturgeon being poached is almost equal to the number being caught legally. On the banks of the Sacramento River, fishermen see it all the time. Poaching has a certain look. Just ask Bernard Rizzo.
And I've seen sturgeon taken over there, and then guys running up to the car with it. With 3 guys with a sturgeon hanging over them and running. Wow. Yeah.
The insatiable appetite for sturgeon is taking a heavy toll on the population.
02, top of the mountain.
The Department of Fish and Game cruises the banks of the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta more than ever these days, looking for signs of poaching.
How are you doing today?
The legal limit is 3 sturgeon a year, and size does matter. No fish over 66 inches or under 46 inches.
We have seen a precipitous drop in the sturgeon population. We need to do something about the regulations to make sure that fishermen don't contribute to what could be an extinction of a species.
The skyrocketing price of caviar on the world market has made the rewards on the black market lucrative and worth the risk in recent years.
Open the door now, we're coming through.
In 2006, 17 sturgeon and abalone poachers were arrested in raids in Sacramento and the Bay Area. This videotape belongs to the Department of Fish and Game. Steve Pierce isn't bashful about telling off poachers, but it's a delicate choice.
I think it's a citizen's duty to say something to them.
If we don't stay on top of this, we will see sturgeon at least become listed as a threatened or endangered species, if not go extinct.
Back in Alberta, raising sturgeon is only half the battle. Critics love the caviar, but connoisseurs treat the domestic stuff like a cheap knockoff.
And I'm looking for the firmness, texture, how it rolls across your tongue.
Joe Melendez has been a taster for more than a decade. He's watched the Sterling brand, that's its commercial name, grow into something special.
How gratifying is that?
It's gratifying to me. I think we have the same issue that maybe California wine had when it first started, that everyone was snobby to say someplace and didn't think it was going to be as good.
But Peter Struffenegger, he saw something 30 years ago that most couldn't begin to envision, a domestic caviar, a world-acclaimed caviar that's again making California famous.
Somebody told me that this has been called California's black gold.
It's been a long struggle, you know, because of the non-acceptance of our product at first, but now it's firmly entrenched in a lot of the people's minds and the consumer and public's mind that this is an acceptable alternative.
The Lincoln High School farm. We're about 8 miles outside of Lincoln on 405 acres. This used to be a communication annex for the Air Force. And about 1974, they scaled down on their need for communications, or for whatever reason, this came up as surplus property.
I basically run the equipment. If the animals need to be fed, I feed them, give them shots, and help process them, and pretty much anything they need done around here.
We want to expose as many students as we can to agriculture.
It's just a great experience, actually. Instead of sitting in the classroom talking about it, you can come out here and experience how it is.
I guess ideally a student that comes through our program would have a chance to work with livestock, work with machinery, and still take college prep classes.
It's taught me good work ethics and other things, like I can go home and use something here that I learned at the farm.
I would like to see agriculture be a viable industry for students in the future and shed the stigma of agriculture just being, you know, manual labor, and draw some good people into agriculture and into ag production.
What kind of pumpkins do you want?
I think that just having a resource like this for the younger students and for all the high school students, I think is very important.
Tucked behind the hustle and bustle of Highway 80, just west of Vacaville, lies the bucolic area of Pleasance Valley. Steeped in a long history of ranching and agriculture, this is where you'll find Morningsun Herb Farm.
Even stuff that has been in the ground for 2 or 3 years, if they...
Rose Lovall Sale and her husband Dan own this herb farm where everything sold is grown right here on the property.
A 3-foot salvia is not going to spread that.
This land has been in Rose's family for generations and has a rich history in this valley.
This land was owned in the 20s by my grandparents. They sold it to some family friends in the 1950s when my father first came here with my mom. He said, "I love it here, let's buy land." And so they ended up buying back this 3 acres, and they used it just for a small walnut orchard and lived here and still live here. I think a lot of people chose to live in this valley and to farm it because the soil is Class A. It's actually very reminiscent if you go to the hills of Italy or Spain or Greece. It's just like being in the Mediterranean, and so very similar growing conditions.
Rose has fond memories of growing up here, but she didn't always plan on staying. It was Rose's parents who encouraged her to start her dream job on their land 15 years ago.
We pulled out some of the smaller walnut trees, and we built 1 greenhouse and 1 little hoop house, and that was it for the first year.
Because this land is zoned agricultural, nothing can be brought into the nursery. It all must be grown on site. So in the beginning, Rose started a cutting garden, where she continues to harvest seeds and cuttings for all of her plants.
I have some Moroccan mint here. It's one particular variety of spearmint. It was just rooted 2 weeks ago. And so we do these all from tip cuttings. We just are basically taking off the very tips. We put them in a little bit of rooting compound. It's a very lightweight soil. And then we put them in here for up to 4 weeks and they're ready to go.
Once Morningsun Herb Farm was established as a retail nursery, business started booming. But it wasn't until Rose decided to sell herbs wholesale that the business really took off. Currently, they wholesale to nurseries from Auburn to Modesto and Healdsburg to Half Moon Bay. And the herb farm has expanded to 8 greenhouses and many, many plants.
We have about 500 different species of herbs and perennials, and it covers things like 13 different types of basil. We have over 60 different species just of salvia here, and we're constantly adding. We have about 30 different lavenders. So we really take each genus like salvia or lavender at a time, and we do as many varieties as we can.
With so many different types of plants, the next logical step was starting a mail order business. In addition, Rose holds seminars, appears at farmers markets, and is very involved in the Solano slow food movement.
I consider myself both a farmer and a gardener. We may be gardening, but we may be planting 200 flats of basil in a week. So it feels more like farming by the time we're done.
So next time you're driving through Vacaville, consider stopping at Morningsun Herb Farm, like so many others often do.
A lot of people don't realize that there's country right here.
Hi, my name is Peter Norris, and I'm a virtual vintner, and this is my California Heartland. A virtual vintner is someone who literally buys wine over the internet and can make wine and sell it and bottle it without all the costs. So we came up with the Vino Family Vineyards, kind of a fun kind of label with Mama Vino, Don Vino, Vito Vino, and we taste wine off the bulk market, which we find through the internet. We look and find a winemaker that likes the taste that we like. Sometimes we can buy grapes right off the vine, and then we'll crush them, custom crush them at a facility. Or we'll buy bulk wine that's already made, and then together we decide what we want to sell. The best part about being a virtual vintner is that somebody can get into the wine business, create a brand, make some wine that they really like, and sell it. Thanks for watching My California Heartland.
Pack your bags and grab your boots. It's time to hit the road with the Ag Traveler.
If you like horses, this is going to be the ranch for you.
Here at Tuolumne County, one of the best ways to relax and wind down is to saddle up at the Slide Mountain Ranch.
There's nothing. There's no noise. There's just the birds and the leaves. It's so peaceful.
Just off Highway 180 near Yosemite, this family-owned and operated working ranch is the perfect place to take your horse on vacation. Or for you first-timers like me, take a lesson from owners Ike and Sherry Bunny, who say they can teach anyone the ropes of riding.
Because we're going to go slow, we're going to take them through the phases that they need, that's necessary.
Although, everyone seemed a bit concerned with my inexperience. And lest you think I'm a tenderfoot, check out my very own boots and hat. Okay, I confess, they'll provide you with those here at Slide.
What the heck? That's the first thing we do. First thing you do is get on the horse and then just step your foot over. Very good. All right. There you go. All right. Okay, show them what a lope is. Right? No, Nelly. Kick him. That's okay. You're not there yet. I'm not there yet. Just kick him again. Kick him again.
Pretty soon, you're riding high in the saddle and out on the trail. Slide Mountain offers lessons in riding, cutting horses, arena riding, starting at $100 per session. No previous experience necessary. Trust me.
Push. When when they used to drive their cattle across the country, they would stop at every person's property line, and the guy who owned the property would come out with his cutting horse and drive out the cattle out of the herd that belonged to him, and that was always his best horse. And they got to bragging about who had the best horse, and so then they start having competitions, and of course it's evolved quite a bit since then.
And once you've mastered the trails, it's time to take a true cowboy class in cutting, something the Bunny family wins awards in.
Push on the saddle horn, take your feet away.
Okay.
And then he'll do the rest.
All right, I didn't think I'd ever say this, but let's do some cutting.
Let's do it. Watch the cow. Watch the cow.
I like the neck thing.
Relax, you can sit down. Okay, you're pulling with your one hand, but you need to be pushing with it.
I like the neck thing.
Push with that hand. Watch the cow, watch the cow.
I seriously have a cramp. Hold on one second. I think he's tired.
Back him up, back him up.
Hang it up, big boy.
There you go. Good.
Okay, we good?
Cutting is so much fun.
So whether you dream of trail rides or piggyback rides, this is the place the whole family will enjoy.
We love having families and we love having children.
And after a full day of riding, you're ready for some relaxing. Time to head on over to the bunkhouse.
A lot of people call it yuppie camping out.
These Dude Ranch digs are pretty plush for a cowboy and include a self-serve kitchen and grill. But after a dusty day on the trail, who wants to cook? Never fear, Doc is near. Time to eat Doc's Texas Barbecue and Burgers. He says they're the best. Let's find out. Doc at? Hi, I'm Doc. Doc, how you doing? Good, I'm Gary. Gary?
Nice to meet you, Doc.
You too. Oh, hey, I heard all about this place. Doc's locally known for cooking up any type of meat you're hankering for, from jalapeno sausage to tri-tip and brisket. But my real mission here is to find out the secret to Doc's ribs.
Put on some gloves. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to rub some ribs.
I'll take one of these.
There you go.
It's a little chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly.
A little cold.
Then you rub that in real nice. Attaboy.
Yeah, look at that.
There you go. Oh, you're a natural.
Now you grab this, is that what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is this your special rub?
Yes, this
concoction?
is our rub. Yes,
okay.
it is. Now pat it in one more time. Make sure you got everything. You got a little corner.
There you go. I saw that too. See?
There you go.
That's
you got
right.
it.
You can help me.
You got it.
Pat that in.
All right, and lay it down on top of that one. Voila! You just rubbed your first cracker.
I just
rib.
rubbed a rib. All right, fantastic.
And then we get our good smoke and we just put our ribs on right here. Now, you go ahead and do the honors. Now, hold it like that and hold your rib like that with your left hand. Okay. Take your left hand, hold the rack. There you go, buddy.
All good?
Oh, you're a pro already. Put it right there. You bet. Okay? There you go. And you want to make sure you put it in far enough to where it's over the pan. Attaboy. That it? There you go. Okay. Then we shut the door and we're good to go.
Awesome.
And you got a rack that'll be ready in about 6 hours.
Fantastic. Does everybody around these parts know about Doc?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good to see you.
Have you tried the burger? Because he's trying to get me to try the burger. He says it's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Got some good stuff. It's good. Woo. A little cutting, a little trail riding, some good old Docs. Nice meal. I'm done. Take me a little nap. It's nice.
I am Sophia Nahara. I am the crew chief here at the California State Fair Livestock Nursery, and I am a food animal technician over at UC Davis. What just took place here at the Livestock Nursery is we just had a cow give birth. The public got to see how the events happen from stage 1 of labor all the way to stage 3. This calf here that was just born about 15 minutes ago is a healthy bull calf, meaning a male. The mom and calf behind me are actually having a little bonding time. I've seen many calves born, and the experience for me never gets old. It's something that I love to do. Part of my job is helping animals, and I hope that everybody gets to share here at the California State Fair that could actually witness the birth of this calf.
Everyone's a farmer when it comes to their own backyard. Try these tips for doing it homegrown.
trees should be a mainstay in everybody's backyard. There are those beautiful spring blossoms, this vibrant fall color, and in addition, this, the tasty rewards of fruit. Californians are so lucky. There are so many different fruit trees that you can pick and choose from and plant in your own backyard. So where do we start? Well, water is really important for healthy looking plants and trees. So you might first of all consider more drought resistant varieties like figs, pomegranates, or even persimmons. But you don't want to limit yourself to just these trees. There are new methods that minimize water use for trees like apricots, pears, and even apples. Ed Laivo is with me from Dave Wilson Nursery, and one of the biggest indicators of how much water your tree is going to need is your soil. That's what you're doing, is digging this out.
Got to figure out how well it's going to drain to determine whether or not the tree is going to live. And what we want to do is we want to create a hole about a foot across, about a foot deep. We want to fill it with water one time. We want to let that drain, and then we want to fill it with water again. If it takes longer than 4 hours for that second draining, you got a drainage problem, and more than likely you should be considering possibly mounding the trees.
Then you have to look at the different type of trees and the rootstock that come with them. You brought a couple examples here.
Well, if I've got poor draining soils, I'm going to want to elevate the tree, but I'm also going to want, for the sake of drought tolerance, I like more aggressive roots. I like a root that gets down into the ground fast and gets established quickly. That's mostly standard rootstock.
Yeah, it's a very deep taproot.
Very deep taproot. Here's a typical semi-dwarf root, which is, you know, a lot of surface roots, a little weaker grower. But that's very typical of semi-dwarf. I want something that's going to get down deep where the water is going to be. And that's going to make this plant much, much more able to tolerate those dry conditions. Or this might also be good for wet locations, but not wet during the wintertime. Just say a lawn situation that drains well, but you know it doesn't have standing water. Then this would be a good choice.
The rootstock we just talked about doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to tell the difference in the size of the tree. You make the difference by pruning, and in turn that all helps with how much water you use.
Absolutely, and in this case right here we have a tree that's nice, low, manageable.
Can pick anything.
Right, and if we're going to do something like this, we're going to take and have semi or standard rootstocks to begin with. We're going to want to have management and size control a primary goal right from the time we planted, right from the beginning.
All right, now one additional thing that we've done here is we've planted 3 trees together.
Yes.
Because we've only had to test one soil location.
Right.
And we're watering one location.
Absolutely.
So we've got this figured out in the first season.
Yeah, and we've got pollinator here, so if your variety needs a pollinator, the pollinator is nice and close by. We don't need large quantities of fruit, so we're going to have seasonal successive ripening off of this, and at the same time, we are going to know our watering needs very, very well, so we know how much water this tree needs just to stay healthy in the next few years.
And then we're going to go underneath the tree because it needs one more thing. Well, we're talking about mulch, and it can be a number of different things. It can be straw, it can be bark mulch. The important thing to minimize water usage is to make sure it's deep enough to prevent evaporation of the water from underneath the plant.
Absolutely, Kristine, and 4 inches is probably about where you want to be, so you be generous with the mulch. Come out at least 3 feet from the trunk. As the tree gets bigger, you're going to also want to take and increase the parameter of your mulch.
So you look at the canopy and come down, and this is where you're going to want the mulch all the way around the tree, and in this case, the 3 trees.
Absolutely.
And we're talking also about water. You want a really efficient drip system with some really good emitters. Good idea to test the soil just to make sure you know how much water's in the soil. Moisture meters work really well. I think they're the best thing out there for it.
As a matter of fact, I think before you water, you should always check to see if your ground really needs to be watered.
They're pretty accurate.
Yeah, they can tell wet or dry very well.
So don't just sit around. Fruit trees can be planted all year long. What do you like to eat? Well, find varieties that bear at different times, and you're going to enjoy bounty from your own backyard all year long.
Hi, I'm Mike Tomlinson. Welcome to my California Heartland. I like to grow persimmon trees in my yard because they are relatively pest and disease free They have remarkable fall color, and they have a very unique flavor. One of the great things about persimmons is they're ripe in the fall when all the other fruit is already gone. This is the Fuyu persimmon as opposed to the Hachia persimmon. The best thing about the Fuyu persimmon is that you can eat it when it's hard. Unlike the Hachia persimmon, which you have to wait until it's gooey like jelly, you can eat the Fuyu when it's still hard. Just like an apple. Fabulous. Thanks for watching my California Heartland.
That's California Heartland. For more information on any of these stories, go to californiaheartland.org. I'm Chris Burrows. We'll see you next time.
What's that? Oh, carrot? Yeah, got one right here. Yeah. See? I'm a good guy.
To order a copy of this show, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping. California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.